Alright. Should be working now. Alright, everybody, welcome to probably one of my very first podcasts of the channel. It is none other than myself with special guest Trainfan5202 right here.
Hello.
Now, if any of you have ever wondered, oh, who is that guy that's been such a big help to your videos and who's always been, also in the background in a lot of videos, well, this is him. He's probably one of my best friends I've ever had for, I'd say, almost a year, right? Maybe even 2 years.
You'll be to almost 2 years, I could say.
Yeah, so basically this stream is basically going to be not only basically just so you can get to know him a little better, as well as, you can even throw questions about me, but this is all about him for now. So I'd start off with my own question. Do you remember how exactly we met?
Devin,
Devin. So I think
j-
it
j-
was, yeah, it
thanks to
was
set the
Jeff
Railfan
basically.
1000.
Yeah, basically what happened was Jeff, he basically, Jeff and I planned to have a meetup at Devon. I forget, I think we were just trying to catch the Great Valley Flyer because the AEM7s were about ready to be retired. And at this day, I remember it was 2301 leading it, and you told Jeff you could stop by really quick.
And I was working in the area thanks to
Yeah.
my jobs.
I must ask though. I remember there was a really funny line you said when you were approaching us. I forget what you actually said though.
I don't remember also. My mind's been.
But yeah, basically that's when we first encountered each other. That's also back then when I had that stupid tripod that would just go ping, bling, because the thing in
Oh,
the middle would always fall out.
especially that. And unfortunately, I have to apologize to everybody right now. I'm having kind of a problem with my work right now. So if you guys hear me rambling about something in the background, forgive me. I'm trying to multitask here, which is one of my top good things I like to do.
Well, we all have busy lives. I mean, look at me. I had to run out this morning to I had to help out a friend with a short film at Monco, and then I also, since I left early, I decided I'd stop at Norristown, got a 20Q, and then I ran off. And then when I noticed the time, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get going, otherwise traffic's gonna slow me down. And I got home just about 20 minutes ago, and then I just quickly started up the stream.
Yeah. And I had a call from my manager at work because I'm supposed to be in today, but I was off because of a specific reason. But I'm not going to go into that. It's too long of a story.
All right, Edward Loves Big Macs has a pretty good question. What Southern engine do we like? Southern 630 or 4501? My vote's kind of for the 4501.
I never know the difference between the two.
To be honest, neither do I.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Alright. 1206 is not a Norfolk Southern Engines AWVR. AWVR is that's a fictional railroad. So he's gonna be right back, but luckily Stone the Railfanner's got a good question right now. I might as well answer it for him until he gets back, and then he'll answer it. Of course, we all know my favorite locomotive is the Penzi K4. Where do you Cooper Climb. He asks, where do you live? You live in Lansdale. I actually happen to live not too far from Lansdale. It's about a half-hour drive. Trainfan here, he lives in Lansdale. Pretty close, actually. He's not far from Monco College. As for me, I live in Norristown. Hence all the Norristown videos. Duh. um, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He's probably going to be finishing up his call really quick. But anyways, I do want to make an announcement, guys. There are two documentaries planned for the December. There's of course the highly requested DuPont wreck in Washington. I was, kept telling you guys, oh, don't do the video because, there hasn't been a final report yet, but I will do that. And there's also Back Bay. Speaking of which, I think Trainfan just returned.
Yes, I did. Sorry,
All right, we got another
house phone
question
was
from
ringing.
Stone the Railfanner. What is your favorite locomotive? Like in all time?
Well, originally I used to like the ES444 DCs, but until CS60 rated them, I wasn't too happy about those because I did like those units. Those units looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I used to like them, but now I'm very picky now.
You just can't choose a favorite?
Nope, there's so many different types that I like that I'm like, okay, I don't know which one I like anymore.
I see. Cooper Climb, he was asking where do I live, and he actually said he lives in Lansdale, and I mentioned earlier you happen to live not too far from there.
Yeah, I live closer to North Wales.
Yeah, but that's still, pretty close. I mean, you're way closer to Lansdale than I am. You're like a 5 minute drive from there, and I'm like half an hour away. And then we got a question by two users, Lionel Train Reviews and Trey Epperly, 4014 or 844. I'll go first. I prefer 844 because 844 has that unique distinction of being the only steam engine to never actually officially been retired. So what would you choose?
Um, I would go 4014 more because I've seen 4014 more because I like the ginormous size of it and the way it's got like two different drive sets.
Well, I mean, it is a big boy. But that brings my question. Since a lot of people, call locomotives as, female, like, oh, that's a beauty, would that make 4014 a he or a she? There's an
Good
unanswered.
question. You know what? You got me thinking. That is a good question.
uh, and then, Alfie's video. He's got a good question. Or actually, no. Somebody asked earlier, what's our favorite part about rail fanning?
My favorite part about rail fanning is going out to different spots and catching trains with different engines and seeing the different types of engines that go by. Not just about the heritage units, but more about the fact of seeing different types of trains with the different lengths and different cars that are in there, and to see how much traffic actually moves, of how much freight is actually goes throughout the entire U.S. of what we get every day simply from our computers to everything we buy in the grocery store.
I see. Now, my favorite part of rail fanning is just the amount of sites you can see, and like for example, there's always a different location you can check out. Like recently, I discovered why I'm missing thanks to Mr. Train Fan over here, and
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised with just how many freight trains that come through there. It was mostly intermodals to Jersey, but it was still, like that's something I've never seen. And even if locations you go to all the time, like Norristown, for example, there's sometimes something new for me to see, like a CSX on 17G or 8102 on any of the like 14G, for example, or what have you. So that's usually my favorite part. Now, let's see. There was another question. Trying to read through these comments. Stone the Rail Fanner. Have you ever heard of Mark? And if so, do you like it?
I've always liked rail fanning. I loved trains from a long time ago.
No, he was asking, have you heard of Mark?
Oh, Maryland? Yeah, I actually like their trains. Have I been down to rail fandom? No, not yet. But I actually came close to rail fanning them when I was in Perryville, but I never got a chance to see them ever at that historic station.
Yeah, I honestly have heard of Mark too. I mean, besides SEPTA, Mark is the other. It's like my close second favorite of commuter railroads, mainly because of the diversity of power. Like with SEPTA, they've got mostly like 100% electrics, mainly Silverliner 4s, Silverliner 5s with a handful of ACS 64s on the expresses. With Mark, you get all kinds of stuff: Hippos, which are the HHP8s. You get the GP40PH-2Bs or whatever you call those. You even get the Chargers, which are brand new. I think the one's called MP36 PHACs, whatever you call those. You just got a crapload of different kind of engines running all kinds of power. You could say the same with NJT, but we all know NJT still hasn't got fully PTC ready yet. If last time I checked.
Well, last I heard, 4119 is in at Morristown and M&E going in for PTC.
Oh, I see. And also another thing about Mark I like, those double decker coaches with the Mars lights. That just can't be beat.
Those I heard are called gyro lights.
Same thing.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
call but we I know of another rail fanner that loves those lights.
and that would be.
Mega Man 334.
Oh yeah, he's another close friend of ours.
And
Uh,
unfortunately, he's with family today, so he is enjoying rail fanning Vermont, and he caught two Vermont railway engines with a Gaddix on the rails up there. He's up visiting family.
I see. Railfan Patrick Dweller. What is our favorite foreign power unit, or at least favorite foreign power in general?
Hmm.
That's a good one.
Screw it. I like them all.
Yeah, we both like a lot of foreign power, but I'd have to say my favorite would have to be Canadian National, because Canadian National is very very rare where we live. In fact, they only come on foreign power, and I just like the red paint scheme. I especially love the what do they call it? The zebra paint, where it's the red on the front and you got the black and white stripes on the tail. That's honestly really really cool. So, let's see. Another question. Ooh, this is one by Adam Buzz here. I hope I pronounced that last name right. Have we ever rode an Amtrak Keystone Express before? I personally haven't, but what about you, Train Fan?
I've ridden a Keystone. Not an express, really. I rode it as a local from Paoli to 30th Street because I got down to one point that basically I got lazy. I didn't want to wait for the train out of Thorndale, actually out of Paoli, and that was the one to get me home at one point. And I just said, "Screw it! I'll grab a Keystone, go down on Keystone Train 656. Right, I rode in the cab car and rode down to Philly, got off there, and enjoyed the ride. I actually got to see 625 trailing, and then it became the leader because that was the engine leading the train north.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really wish I could take a Keystone sometime in the future, because all I've ridden practically is just SEPTA. Cooper Climb. What is our favorite train movies? My personal favorite's obviously Runaway Train from 1985. It's a cult classic. You Train
I
Fan?
got several.
All right, do list.
Silver Streak.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a classic with Gene Wilder.
Yep,
And
and
what was it? There was another famous actor in that one.
I think was
He was a black comedian, I think. What was his
I
name?
forget the name. Then also the current Unstoppable.
Of course.
And I also got two versions of Taking of Pelham 123. The original one with Walter Matthau as the police lieutenant,
Hmm.
and then the one with Denzel Washington.
I see.
The original one was a little bit different than the current one that was made with John Travolta and Denzel Washington. It
Yeah.
wasn't like the way they portrayed the story that way. It was a whole different way.
Yeah.
and you could tell the difference between the two. And it was a major difference. I could tell the major differences in both stories. They never ended up the same.
Yeah. The PC dude, what is our favorite UK train?
I've been to England. I have been towards London. I went from Manchester to London the one time on the Virgin trains. I really liked those at the time because they were, I could say one thing, and I apologize to all Northeast Corridor rail fans at the moment, but they were a lot faster than us here in the U.S. We got our asses kicked by the British.
Oh, I know. And a bunch of other countries across the US too, but that's all thanks to the FRA. My personal
Yeah,
favorite is an oldie, but it's a goldie, and it's going to be, retired pretty soon, is the old Intercity 125s, also known as the British Rail Class 43s. There's just something about the old car body design that's always really fascinating. And there was also this really, really funny British advertisement I saw a long time ago, back in like the early, like the 90s or something. I saw it on YouTube in like 2007, where it was basically an Intercity 125, but they were imitating it as if it was a car and doing it as like a car commercial. And some of the lines were like, "When was the last time you were on a long business trip and your train had to stop for breakfast, stop for you to do some work, or stop to spend a penny?" And then there's two of my favorites. "When did you last see a train with a puncture? Or train get nicked for speeding? And who's ever heard of a train jam?" Well, I've heard of a train jam. It's called the Norfolk Southern Harrisburg East Dispatcher. Because I remember back when, before they PSR'd the Harrisburg East area, there would always be commotion between intermodals and steel slab trains getting jammed between CP Abrams Yard and CP Norris. It was always a mess, but oh man, that was. I mean, I just love how, just the look of the car body. So if I had to choose a favorite British train, it's got to be the Class 43s. Stone also asks, have you guys ever been on the Acela Express? Again, I haven't. What about you, Trainfan? I don't know if you've actually
yeah,
ridden it. You've ridden the
I actually
Acela
was.
before?
New York to Boston.
Let me guess. It was twice as expensive as a regular regional
It
ticket.
was actually 2000. No, wait. Was it in 2008?
Either
Hold
way, it
on.
must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, hold on. I have it because I have it here in my computer. That's why.
What, in your email or just
In my computer on my laptop that I'm looking at right now while talking to everybody here.
mm, yeah, but that's
I I remember it was. I went up to Boston. I've been to Massachusetts twice, but the first time I ever went was because that's right. I went to Boston College for a conference, and I had to take NJT up from Trenton to New York, and I had a layover in New York to wait for the train to Boston. And I
right.
rode the Acela from New York to Boston with no problems along the way. The only thing was on the way back, I actually, after I had my conference at Boston College, I was dressed in a suit that day, coming back towards South Station on the Green Line trolleys there. And unfortunately, I didn't know Boston College had just won their one sports team that was playing at the time won their championship game at that day. I didn't know that, and people were crowding on in celebration that nobody was paying their fares to get on.
Ooh.
And I caught like the last train back to South Station. So then I had to take another train and go meet up with my cousin, who I stayed at his place. I went to go see my aunt the next day, and I almost didn't make it back in time to South Station for my Acela train back home. But we just made it thanks to my cousin's crazy driving the way he drives.
Really?
So we managed
Was
to
he
make it.
drive really fast?
Oh, trust me. In Massachusetts, had to drive or you get run over.
Oh my gosh. I would not survive them because I drive slow.
They would force you off the road.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, but basically we got stopped in along the train ride down in
Really?
Connecticut. Somehow one of the bridges went up and we got delayed because of it. I It was still about like a good hour. I'd say about no three and a half hour ride,
Mm.
and that's only because of the way the trip was going down, because that's the distance it would be. But it was interesting to see, and I did get a lot of and I did see a lot of interesting CSX locomotives that you never see.
I see.
If I can find it.
All right. Now, Trainboy 1066 asks, have we ever taken an NJ Transit, New Jersey Transit train anywhere?
Oh,
Again, I
no,
haven't, but what
are
about
you
you?
kidding me? Excuse me. No, a bunch of times up to New York and back, even to Railfan at Sea Caucus.
Oh yeah, and I also forgot. You also sometimes take it to take your parents to the Newark airport.
No, but even before that, my mom used to have meetings up in New York in the East Village.
Mm.
So we would take New Jersey Transit to get to go up to New York, because the $1 million question is for everybody to figure out is, why the hell would you drive into New York when you could
Why
just
would
take the
you?
train?
We all know, friggin' we all know how much of a nightmare. I mean, we could talk about Boston being a nightmare to drive up to. Just think about New York. Jeez.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's that. I definitely think I might take NJT in the future, depending on if I, where I go for, for Sunday after, but I'll have to see.
Okay, it was 2010.
2010. Wow. That's like almost 9 years ago.
Yeah, that's the last time I was up in Boston, because I'm looking at my pictures now that I found, and that was when I saw the MBTA multi levels, like one
Yeah.
leading. Then there was like an all aboard America's Most Convenient Bank, and
Mm.
then there was one. Then I even saw what was 1130, the MBTA engine. Then I saw a bunch of CSX engines go past in the yard there, and if I remember closely going through, yeah, it was hopper cars. It was like a small yard that they had there, like right paddling the corridor. And I see, what is it? 6226, 62. It's hard to make out the numbers because this video is so old.
Yeah.
6212, 6210, 6224.
Those sound like GP40s.
Yep, this was like a small local yard that they always had up there.
Right, right.
So there was that. Then I even saw the Metro North trains that they have, the ones that look like the Silverliner fives.
Yeah, what do they call them? The M8s. You what, mate?
Yeah, the ones with the two center door with the doors in the middle.
Yeah, that's the
Saw a whole bunch of those. Saw a Keystone cab car in New Haven.
mm, all right.
I forget the number though.
Yeah, because there's like a New Haven shuttle, I think, that runs there. So.
Oh, it was 9650.
Oh, how about that?
That's a surprise. Oh, I also saw the Metro North P40 P32 224,
Yeah, the ACDMs or whatever you call them.
and also here's an original one, an XP40
A what?
number 840.
Oh, an original SD40?
Actually no P40 P40
Oh,
Amtrak
wow.
P40,
That's interesting. Like I said, you don't see many of those left.
but it's owned by CDOT.
Yeah, C dot. That makes sense.
They own that now,
Yeah.
so you got that. Then it was more of those Metro North cars. Like I said, there's like a whole bunch of yards there around New Haven. And then it was just some pictures in New York about of the Yankees that I saw, and that was about it. Saying "Come home to Yankee Stadium, the home of the champions."
Hmm. All right. Railfan Patrick Detweiler. What is our favorite CP heritage unit?
Don't have. I'm not sure. I don't really have a CP Heritage unit. Well, they just came out really, so I'm
Aren't
not
they
100
those
percent.
ones with the different camo paint jobs, or are those the veterans units?
I think. Well, it depends. There's different types. Each one represents a different part of the military.
Yeah, then if that's the case, then I would have to choose the D-Day one, whichever number that is.
Yeah, but I'd have to take a better look at the others.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm still a little rusty on those.
Yeah, I see one from the PC dude. He say, and well, he's asking about the next derailment, but Alpha 118 says, "How do we balance rail fading and personal?" That's simple. You just try and find the time to do it. You don't really try and overexert yourself by pushing too much. And somebody here is as a life lesson learner of that.
Very funny. But anyway, yeah,
Oh,
basically,
there's that. The other one, but
basically all I can say is how we balance it out is just, sometimes we sometimes set specific days on when we go out and do our hobby, but half the time we usually got other things to worry about. So it's like a healthy regulation, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, the way people drink alcohol, you don't you can't have too much or you end up, as a bum and not having, much to look for in life. And if you have too little of
it's
it, you miss out big time.
it's like example. If you get to where I am right now in my age right now, I basically do it that if I have the free time, I'll do it. Right now, I just got lucky that recently I completed a whole series of a series within a year that I was wanting to do ever since I started railfanning near CP King. As you saw in Thunderbolt's videos, I would actually go onto I would go out there myself with the scanner, listen in, and see what I could pick up. And I would usually pick up perfect enough stuff just to hear what was coming. And I've gotten every single daily mainline freight that went through there. I'm currently beating Thunderbolt by one train that he keeps wanting to get, but it's been an elusive sucker on him because every time he wants to go see it, it's too late for him to see it.
And I know exactly which one it is. NS25T. It's Morrisville
Morrisville
to
to
yeah,
Harrisburg.
Morrisville to Harrisburg. The only time I even hear of anything of that engine is when I'm, in my room or anywhere else in the house, and I hear either a distant horn or just hear the rumble of freight cars outside going through Abrams at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, that's 25T. And it just get and what even infuriates me more is in my NS at CP King episode 1, you'll see that 25T, which was apparently running like super late, and he managed to get it in daylight, and I couldn't get it because of freaking college. I was
Well,
so
that
annoyed.
was actually Thunder.
What?
Calm down there a minute for 1 minute because that was actually a rare surprise. Nobody expected the train to be sitting overnight
What? Why did they
at
keep
camp
it there overnight then?
because I don't know what was going on. I guess they were having problems in Harrisburg that they couldn't allow them to proceed.
Because you saw him at King, and was he sitting there by the time you got there?
When I got there, he was still sitting there. It's like he was there most of the night. Like they basically had their break just sitting there the entire night.
My only guess is they needed to do a crew change, which is odd if they would need to do it over there because Morrisville's not that far. It's only about an hour away from
Yeah,
Norristown.
but here's the other problem you're running into though. Technically, how are they supposed to take a train all the way back to Marshall if the engines are facing one direction?
Exact. Yeah, you're right. So,
And
we
you
may
don't want to
never
run,
know.
and it was in the siding anyway, so
Yeah, so it wouldn't
still.
block the main.
Yeah, so let's get back to more of the other questions though. But
Yeah.
some of the other stuff, Silver Meteor, nah, not really. There's one for you, Thunder, about which railroad. What is your favorite railroad besides SEPTA?
I gotta have to say, it would probably have to be Mark because, like I said, the wide variety of power and especially the hippos. You can't go wrong with the hippos. And I would have caught one 2 years ago on Sunday after, but because obviously every Sunday after Amtrak leases equipment. Lately, it's only been coaches from Mark, but there was one rare occasion where they sent a hippo down with Am fleets as well as Mark cars. And I was on my way to, I think it was Glenolden to meet Scepter Railfan 1000 there, but there was a problem with a set further down the line. We were in Silverliner 5s, and then they immediately had to trade us into Silverliner 4s, and with that delay cost us a good 10 minutes, and by the time I was already passing, I think, Darby, I saw the hippo from the corner of my eye going through the window, and I was like, "Ah, God damn!" I was so pissed. I almost got thrown off the train. I was that pissed off.
Yeah, I remember I had to calm you down for that one.
No, you can't. No, that was I wasn't even on. I didn't even know you back then because that was like 2 years
Mm,
ago.
yeah.
You're thinking about that
Um,
time I missed 901 on the very first test run on the Trenton line.
well, here's the other question that was asked. What do we think of the heritage units? Heritage
Which
units,
heritage
I
units
really
though?
don't know much about them until I've really seen them more out on the rails. I like the three that we saw. And this is going to piggyback onto Stephen KC Railfan on the three CSX units, the 911, 1776, and 3194. I did like the way they looked. They're very interesting engines, and we did like them. The only thing was which you'll see down the road from us, from both of us soon. We both got shafted by Q371 because Q371 blocked 409, which had those engines leading, and that was a massive consist
Actually,
that
no.
was on
They weren't
409.
leading. They were second, third, and fourth in the consist.
Yeah, but yeah, I forgot what I
But
said.
still, but that was still a major screw up on our. I mean, we did get them at 30th Street parking garage, but it wasn't a close up view. And a couple other rail fans we were with, they managed to not get blocked, and I was so annoyed. It was such a mess up. Oh well, live and learn, I suppose. Ooh, J
Yeah,
Gamer
so
Plays Productions. What is our favorite Steam engine? Well, you already know mine.
well, mine that doesn't. I'm privy to anything. It depends on the type of engine and which way it runs. There is one from Railfan Patrick Detweiler though. What is our thoughts on 1801, 1800, 4000 to 4005, and 8520?
Basically, all the
Personally,
DC to AC units.
yeah, but don't forget 1800 and 1801 are a little bit more different, are different powers. They're not the regular AC 44 C6Ms.
Yeah, I know.
So 1800 and 1801, I like them because they look cool with the way they are. 4000 to 4005, I like the way the schemes are for those for the DC to AC because they look pretty good. Although now we got a nickname now for 4000 and 4001, Sonic the Hedgehogs. So there's Sonic the
Yeah.
Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I'm most happy to
Then
hear.
there's also 1800 and 1801, which I call the Tails units because of Tails the Fox, and then you got 8520, which is Knuckles. And 8520 is definitely my least favorite because it was. I mean, I love the paint. It's my favorite paint job of all of them. but
but
since it was
bad
it
rebuild.
was basically a complete failure.
Yeah, bad rebuild.
Yeah, very, very bad rebuild. Although well, my least favorite though is not really 8520. It's actually more of 4001 because its legacy has been tainted by a certain railfan whose name I shall not mention from now on out. A lot of people should know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, we got a good one. What do we think of CSX? CSX is an okay railroad in my opinion, but I actually own stock in most of the major freight companies today. The big thing for me is, though, I don't like CSX the direction that it went with what they did with all the trains so quickly. That was the only reason
Especially
why.
yeah, mainly PSR.
Yeah. But just the way that they were abolishing trains and people quicker, and that's just at least doing it slower, unlike that. So,
Yeah.
but we haven't, besides that, but what do you think?
Honestly, with CSX, I mean, they're all right. I mean, I love the power they sometimes put on oil trains. In fact, I heard K612 had a CP leader and a CITX unit, and I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna get that today. So, oh well.
All right. Well, besides that, we have a question for both of us from Railfan Patrick Detweiler. What is our favorite private car on Amtrak? And our favorite Bible verse. Bible verse for me, sorry, I can't say that because right now I haven't been in church for a long period of time, unfortunately. I do volunteer at my church for bingo, but because I work on Sundays, I don't go to church that often. So apologies for that one.
Yeah,
But private car, I'm not 100% sure because I've had many private cars that I've loved.
yeah. As for me, I don't. I sort of am religious. I mean, I haven't read the Bible, but I've read something pretty similar, the Book of Mormon. It's still a work in progress, so I don't really have a favorite quote from them. As for private cars, the Penzi ones are obviously my favorite. The three, even the Juniata ones you could put in that
Actually,
list.
actually, wait a minute. I did have a favorite one.
Oh, go ahead.
The Sheriff's Creek cripple car.
Really? Which railroad is
Yeah,
that?
because that was the one that they had on the back of. Remember when the Autumn Expresses first started out, and I never got a ticket for that first trip when they first did it.
Yeah.
I went out there, and 513 was the lead dash eight
Mm.
for Amtrak at the time, and I was out there, and I almost got blown over by 513 at Thorndale train station. No joke.
Oh wow.
And apparently it went to the point that basically we got what we needed to before that with that. So there's that one. So that's the one that I like, the Sheriff's Creek, the Cripple Creek Sheriff's Car one. That one was mine. Ooh, Train Boy 1066. All right, we're gonna get through to him quickly, and then we got two others on the NS. Maryland and Pennsylvania. I don't know. Never seen it. Never rail fanned it. Can't tell you.
Well,
I'm out on
Maryland and
that.
Pennsylvania, I think, is actually a now dead line. Like, I think it's been like merged with a bunch of other companies. But I will say, I mean, they're all right. I guess you could say that.
Yeah. The other one is about NS.
All right.
Basically, favorite SD40-2, and then have you seen Operation Lifesaver SD40-2 engines? I could say we've both seen them. I think.
Are you sure?
I don't know about you.
I thought I would. I thought I've only seen I thought the ones we saw. Yeah, we never saw any of the SD40 ones because don't forget NSSD40s are in the 3000 series. The ones we saw were in the 5000 series, and they were all GP 38-2s, like 5669 and 5286. So we've
I
seen
forget if
Operation
I've seen.
Lifesavers from NS, just not the SD40-2s.
I think I've seen the one, but I'm not 100% sure.
Might have been a
And
long
then
time ago
what?
for
And
me
then
either.
what is our favorite SD40-2? I can actually answer this one. This one is actually multiple ones because when I used to railfan 30th Street Station, I used to see several the 3029 to like 3034. I used to see
Wait a
several of
minute,
them.
3029 is a GP40.
Okay. Wait, you sure?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I know
Wait a
my
minute.
favorite SD40-2 from NS is 3421 because that's the one that used to pop around a lot on K38 a couple times until they moved it to the what was it, the Lilliets secondary division for locals. I
Yeah,
think
hold
the
on a
yeah,
minute.
because I think the NS SD40s are all like 3400s. There's also another one I saw, 3413, that was leading 520, but my favorite's still 3421.
No, wait a minute. Okay, the 3000 ones, certain ones were that. Okay, SD40s. Okay, we saw one then.
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, I know. I remember seeing two of them.
Why missing?
Wait, there was one in Why Missing?
Remember 19? Remember was it 19G trailing third
Oh
one in line?
yeah, yeah. How did I forget that? oh, oh, I still haven't looked through a lot of the footage yet at Why Missing. That shows you how behind I am.
That's how much I just speak into it just by talking to other friends on Skype half the time.
Hmm.
So, but besides that,
Ooh, Train
yeah,
Boy
I'm not sure
1066.
really.
Train Boy 1066 asks, you have ever heard of the Black River and Western Railroad? I've never ridden or railfan them before, but I have heard of them before.
I've been out there.
It's not that
I actually
far, right?
saw I actually saw an engine when the trains actually that was coming back almost have a collision with a tanker truck.
Seriously?
No joke.
Holy crap!
But apparently the tanker was like trying to move and he didn't move.
What was he, an idiot, or he just...
I don't know what was going on. I couldn't tell. That was a long time ago. I could actually say.
Mm. Let's see. What's another question? What do you guys think of the BN executive schemes? Not sure what he's talking about there.
Basically, the executive max.
Executive Mac. What road is he
Uh,
talking about by BN?
Burlington Northern.
Oh, well, I've never really seen any of
They were
those.
they were they were with the Nest for a while.
They were?
Yeah,
Nah, I'm
you
not.
don't remember?
Nah, it must have been a while ago. I don't think I remember seeing one.
Oh Jesus Lord, not this. They're probably all laughing their heads off at us.
Oh, pff.
Yeah, they were the 9000 series ones.
The 9000.
Hold on, I got one site that I can easily find one for you. Okay, BNSF 9611 Executive the Grinstein paint.
Oh, what was it again? The
Grinstein paint. SD70 Max.
BN Executive Paint Scheme. Oh,
They're,
now I know what you're talking about. Gee. It's the one they had
oh
on their
boy.
Max. Yeah, it's like a similar paint that was seen on NS with one of their series of engines.
Yeah, those were the least ones.
Right. Okay.
So
So now I know what you're talking about. I've seen those. J Gamer Plays. Have you ever seen BNSF engines? I've seen a total of about 3. There was the first 2 I saw were in like H3, the newest paint scheme, on a CSX manifest at Ridley Park. That was a while ago. That was totally unexpected for me. And then there was the time in my most recent NS and SEPTA Norristown video where I saw 5417 trailing off M7G, and that was I remember you caught it at CP King, and then as soon as I heard that you saw that it was there, I was like, oh crap! And I was starting to leave college, and I thought I'd miss it, but thanks to 20Q and H84, it held it long enough to where I ran out of the bus and managed to get it just with seconds to spare.
Yeah, and if it wouldn't have been for me seeing it coming in and you telling me about it, then I see it and I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, yay. So I'm like, and I'm the one who caught it first coming in, then leaving, because don't forget you featured my overshot. To mention to Super Baddie 4, isn't 513 dead now? Are you kidding me? That Dash 8 will never die. That baby will live on forever.
Yeah, it's still
She's a
active in what,
Pennsylvania.
California?
No, 513 the Dash 8.
Yeah, I'm saying, didn't they move it to California now?
No, 513 still with Amtrak.
No, I'm saying I know it's with Amtrak, but isn't it still there, or is it still in our area?
No, it's got to be out here in our area because they're keeping those units out here because they're capable of working with the signals out in the corridor here.
Oh, that's right, and it was on the Pennsylvania half the time. Durr.
Okay, so we got another question from Adam Buser. What is the difference between a tram, trolley, and a streetcar in your opinion? That I can't really answer. That's on
All
you,
I can
Thunder.
say is those are all the same way to tell apart. Those are really just different ways of calling, different of like literally streetcar. That's just or tram. That's just another way of depicting a trolley. It's just the same word. It's just the same. They both. I mean, literally, they just mean that all those words just mean the same exact vehicle. At least that's how I see it. I know it might be
Um,
different for other people, but eh.
Well, all right. From Railfan Patrick Detweiler, the question of the favorite teacher for both of us. It depends. We both went to different schools, different years, so everything is a lot different for us. And I can't reveal that for purpose of the teachers I had. So I did have lots of favorite teachers, but I can't say.
Yeah, same here. I had a lot of favorites too. Ooh, Caleb Trains 22. Have you guys been to Horseshoe Curve? Because I've been there twice. I still need to go there.
You're preaching to the choir there, also, my friend.
You never been to it either?
Nope.
Ah, man. So that means the
Closest I've
only
been.
that means the only person I know that's been there other than Caleb is Jeff, aka Scepter Railfan1000. Oh, and speaking of which,
Ah,
that reminds me that I might as well talk to you guys about with my close friends that you see that are like on the featured channels. We usually call ourselves the Philly and the Maryland group, but it's usually just between five of us. And we each give each other nicknames depicting on which area we're from. Like for me, I'm known as the Norristown Nut because I'm from Norristown, and sometimes when I see something rare like 8102 or 1067, I go nuts, or I just go nuts for no reason. And then there's I forget what your nickname was, Train Fan.
Lansdale Lander.
Lansdale Lander, yeah, because you're from that area. And then there's our friend Tony, aka Tony's Amtrak train videos. We call him the Ben Salem Bender because he lives in Ben Salem Township by Cornwall Heights Station. So we call since Cornwall Heights is one of the only stations that's on a curve on the NEC. That's where the nickname comes from, Ben Salem Bender. As for our friend Jeff, Scepter Railfan 1000, we just call him the Little Nudge because he's one of the younger members of our close group of friends, and he tends to get on their nerves.
Yeah.
And then there's one
The
more. And then there's
Ultimate
one
G
more
Money 2019 NASCAR dude.
Hold
Which
on. Let me finish. Hold on. Let me
CSX
finish.
train should.
Let me finish right up, Train Fan.
Oh,
There, and then our final member of the group is a kid named Jordan. He's known as Jordan R Photography on YouTube. We call him the Willow Grove Wonder because he's definitely the youngest of the group, but he still impresses me to this day with his knowledge, and he's literally like kind of like a long lost brother to me. Except he looks nothing like me, is a different race, and also has a different last name.
yep. Now to mention to the Ultimate G Money 2019 NASCAR dude. It depends on the CSX train. Should you like? It depends on where you live and what your general interest is with trains. Do you like manifest? Do you like intermodals, oil trains, tanker like ethanol trains? Is there a specific type that you like or don't like out of the whole thing? Because that's what you got to look into and see. Of hey, do I like this type of train or that type of train? It all depends on which one really interests you the most. And I know that somebody else just helped you out answer that, which was Super Batty. Like he said, all of them are good. You can like any of them, but it just depends on if you like one specific one in particular. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, and then for Train Boy 1066, Cape May Seashore Lines, we've both heard of it. I
Yeah.
actually know. I actually know very well know the mayor of Woodbine, New Jersey, that keeps that line running. So I know him. So I know that. So that's with that. So and I have two shirts from there. So that's what I have. For J Gamer Plays Z's Productions, Amtrak P40 Heritage PH Heritage engines.
Wait a minute.
The
I don't
ones
think Amtrak ever had F40PH heritage units. Only the
for
P42s.
the 406.
It's an NCPU, but whatever.
It's not known as an MPCU. It's known as an F40 because it was originally an F40 before they converted it.
Oh well. Nah.
And then Railfan Patrick Detweiler. East Broad Top, we've heard of it, but not really. We really haven't done much with that.
Isn't
Um,
that? Aren't they like pretty much? Because I know didn't the line basically close in like the 80s?
no, it's still operational also.
Really? Oh.
Besides that, Adam Buser says about Steamtown. Yeah, I've been there a couple times, but their Railfest hasn't piqued my interest recently. It's been a show for me. Um, Thunder, you in Steamtown?
Wait, they were asking if I've been to Steamtown?
Yeah.
No, no, I haven't. Ooh, CSAO Kid Productions. Have you ever seen any Conrail shared assets locals like WPCA 51? I've only seen one Conrail shared assets local. It was a Jersey one. Actually, two of them. I saw one return later on. Although I don't know of their symbols. But I don't think I've seen WPCA 51, wherever that runs.
Yeah. We did have a question, a few questions from earlier. Thomas and Lionel Productions. Have we ever been to a train show out of state? For example, like the Edison Train Show in New Jersey.
No.
Um, no, not that I remember. In all honesty, I've been out of town, but that's about it. For Super Batty 4, I was just piggybacking off of you saying what you said as your answer that it doesn't matter which one you like, it goes with that way. Um, let's see. Have we ever been Cooper Climb says about ever been to the Strasbourg Train Museum?
Oh
We've been
yeah.
there and been there a couple times, so we're relics in that already right there.
Oh yeah.
And East Broad Top, we already answered that. What else?
Ooh.
Have you ever been to the Everett Railroad by Railfan Patrick Detweiler? Not that I know of.
All
Not that I
right.
know of.
Trainfan 1066 Productions. What are our favorite bands?
I'm a mixture of music. It doesn't bother me. I'll listen to specific stuff. Most of the time I listen to classic rock. So I like AC/DC. I like I like even all the other old bands. David Bowie. Now that the Christmas music is playing on two of my favorite radio stations here, one from the Lehigh Valley and one from the Delaware Valley. I now got two Christmas music stations to listen to while at work. So I'm like, I'm happy for Christmas music. Keeps me moving while I need to get my work done.
Yeah. As for me, I have a couple favorites. Band
I'll be right
wise,
back for a minute.
sure.
I'm sorry.
Band wise, my favorite has to be some of my favorites include Linkin Park. I grew up listening to them a long time ago, especially when I was a rather darker sort of individual. Especially considering I grew up pretty lonely back then. There's also Muse. It's a British band. That's another favorite of mine. Evanescence, mainly because "Bring Me to Life" is probably one of the best tracks I've ever heard from them. And well, that's really all I can think of band wise. I mean, those are just a couple. Oh, there's also Franz Ferdinand, Cage the Elephant. Imagine Dragons is also up there. So yeah, those are some of my favorites, music wise. All right, CSAO Kid Productions. What is our favorite EMD product? I'm gonna have to say that's probably gonna be the GP9. Excuse me, and I mean the standard GP9 because there's like millions of rebuilt GP9s all over all over the world. Well, not really all over the world, but all over the U.S. There's definitely rebuilds of them everywhere. And then also don't forget there's Canada too. I mean, does Canada still use GP9Us or GP9RMs? They probably do. And for those of you wondering, RM means remanufacture. And for you means you don't know and I don't know. uh, I'll ask that to Trainfan when he gets back. Brightline is lame. Tri-Rail is infinity times better. I would have to agree with that. Seminole Gonzalez rail fan. Been to the Denver RTD? No, I haven't. But I'd like to visit that rail line if I ever go to Denver just to see how much different those Silverliner 5s are. Linkin Park New Divide. Oh, that's one of my favorite tracks from Linkin Park. It's even though it was a single and it was mainly made for the that crappy Transformers movie by Michael Bay. Oh, I love that track. Oh man, I love it. So, yeah. Favorite Christmas song? I mean, it's a bit early to ask for Christmas, especially for me, because I'm looking forward to eating the turkey for Thanksgiving. But if I had to choose a favorite, it'd be Carol of the Bells. Just the melody.
You
And I,
still there?
yeah, I'm still here. We got a couple questions for you that I was answering
Yo,
earlier. Yeah?
Thunder,
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Thunder.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Jeez, that was weird.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Sorry,
we
because I
still got
did
a couple
because
questions to go. I was answering them earlier. CSAO Kid Productions. What is our favorite EMD product? I already answered this earlier. It's the GP7 or GP9. And then as for you,
all right. Doesn't matter.
just anything EMD.
Yeah.
Hmm. Ooh, J Gamer. What is our favorite Amtrak heritage units? I was gonna say 145 because Phase 3 is my favorite heritage paint, but 145 and 822 they just don't look like they don't have the old Phase 3 that they actually had back then when they were first
Yeah.
made.
Oh,
So I
people are
would have
asking
to go
about
with
Christmas songs.
184.
Well, I got two top favorites that are instrumental that I can answer that right out the bat.
What?
David Foster, Carol the Bells, and Percy Faith, Deck the Halls. Two instrumental versions that are pretty good. And then if anyone's heard the Philly Pops ever before, they do one instrumental one pretty good that they play that usually you hear on Philly's B101 point one, and that one's pretty good. I haven't heard it yet recently, but I'm bound to hear it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because unfortunately we're gonna have to cut this up soon, very shortly, because I gotta go help my mom out with dinner.
All right. How long? And I gotta make dinner myself too in a little bit. Devin Singleton, coming from the different end of the locomotive building spectrum, what is our favorite GE product? I can answer this right off the bat. The GE Silverliner 4s. Yes, they were kind of built by Avco as well, but they were still manufactured by GE, so yeah, Silverliner 4s for that. As for you,
GE for
Trainfan?
me, GE for me, I'd have to say it depends.
Like what? Would it be like
It varies for me because GE's made many different engines, and I like different types, but I can't. It's a long list.
yeah. What do you like about Where You Live Train Wise by Railfan Patrick Dweller? Um
Basically, I like the fact of the variety that I get because you never know what you get, and you always get something different all the time.
Not to mention if you get up early enough, you can probably catch Pennsylvania Northeastern movements.
And also, J Gamer Plays Productions. That collision with the trash truck happened a long time ago. That's why they fixed 145 and brought her back
Yeah,
like super
145
bad before it
actually,
said.
when it was being rebuilt, they actually used former Heritage Unit 66's nose because 66 was written off for a collision. I forget where. I think it was in
It was a
Florida.
double collision. One with the regular tractor trailer and one with the lowboy one. Two
Ooh.
booms.
Now I can understand why they foobarred it. But anyways, about that other question about what I like about living where I live train wise. I guess you could also say the variety, but just the amount of I'm just happy about the fact I'm very very close to an active rail yard, which is Abrams Yard, and usually like not only would I mean literally all throughout the day while I'm out, like if I'm outside raking the leaves or doing other yard work outside, all day I'll hear from Abrams Yard the two GP38-2 switchers they have there. One of them happens to be a high hood. I'd hear them throttle up and down all throughout the day, especially if there's a manifest like 14G working in the yard. So that's kind of my favorite part about living in where I live.
Yeah. For Ultimate Money Guy, my Ultimate G Money 2019 NASCAR dude. So you're from New Jersey. Question is what town in New Jersey are you from? Because it depends on where you see most of the CSX trains. If you're in northern Jersey, you would see most of the stuff come through the river line, the CSX river line, going through CP5 and CP10. Then you would have the stuff then that goes down through the CSEO Lehigh line, which is the Raritan Valley NJE Transit line right there through Union and Brownbrook there.
And then
So that's where it goes there.
there's also the right by the border with PA and New Jersey. You also got the Trenton sub.
Yeah, but the Trenton sub dead ends at Brownbrook, so that's the reason why. It all depends on where you're
Yeah.
located to see where they are.
Yeah. And that's the
When it
thing
comes
about the
down to
Trenton line. It's pretty. I just died. It's a pretty good line. It's better than the Philly sub where I live. Not far. I mean, actually, the Philly sub's about like a half an hour drive from me. The thing about the Philly sub is You get there, you wait an hour or two, then you just see a manifest with all Gevos or maybe even an intermodal. It's all right.
Yeah. So, we got a question about favorite West Coast Railroad. I like both the freight ones in particular.
My favorite from the West Coast would have to be Union Pacific.
Okay, now Railfan Patrick Detweiler is asking about train wrecks, and then there's one for Thunder in particular about what is upcoming regarding train wreck
Well, I mentioned
documentaries.
this earlier about what's coming up on my channel. I've got two planned for December right now. One is obviously the highly, highly requested DuPont wreck in Washington. Because the final, I mean, I remember I was telling people, no, I won't do it until there's a final report. Well, a final report came about quite a few months ago, almost the same time the Case, South Carolina one was released. So yeah, that's what's coming for that. And then there's also Back Bay, and I'm gonna have assistance from Penn Central 670 once again with simulator footage. So that's what's to look forward to for now. I know some people requested what was it, the Tangui disaster, or however you pronounce it. Since it's around the Christmas time, and usually I'm very, very busy when the Christmas season comes, especially with family, because I've got a huge family, with lots of relatives. I won't really have that much time at all to do it, and I know what's his face, Stanislav will be busy as well. So yeah, that's basically what's coming up documentary wise.
Yeah, and our favorite train wreck. Basically, mine was the original Roslyn collision that we had because I'm the one that basically looked into that a little more deeper about that one in particular, the one in Abington between the two SEPTA trains, because
Yeah.
I knew something was fishy about that.
Right, and you were also at the time you were living in Willow Grove, and you had actually heard, or, like you were almost about ready to rail fan in that area until you were like, well, where are the trains? And then you looked it up on the news, and you're like, oh crap.
No, I actually heard on the news is that. And all right, we'll take this. We'll take these last two questions from these two. So from Super Batty, he said, "In Back Bay, you will note an MBTA cab car that was 1614, 1525. Miracle Story 1036 was fully paid for by Amtrak as a replacement for 1073." Well, I don't know
I
about
have
that in
no
particular.
idea
We both don't know.
about that one. I still have
Okay, and then
research to do.
all right, and then the last question we'll take for now, for last two we'll take for now is: do you think the Cajon Pass will get another runaway from Henry Tift? We don't know. That's unpredictable
Honestly,
on our.
very unlikely that's going to happen now, especially with all the safety features. Because back then, between 1989 and 1996, they were still fiddling around with the end of train devices. This is actually something I found out from a former Santa Fe and later BNSF conductor who's now retired. He said that there was a lot of between 1994 and 1996, there was a lot of problems with trying to get those things to work, and they couldn't actually set the emergency brakes using those devices.
Yeah, real fan Patrick Detweiler is asking, "What are we both having for dinner?" Well, I'm having eggplant with spaghetti.
I'm probably gonna have a medium rare steak with a side of cheese cubes and probably a cut up apple. So that's usually what
All right,
that's
and
pretty
then
much what I'm gonna go
the
for.
last the last question we'll take for today is before the next time is from Trainmaster 18. He's a Midwestern Rail fan. Well, we welcome you out there because welcome you from out there because we see all the not stuff you get. So he wants to know what sparked our guy's interest in trains. I'll let Thunder go first because mine's going to be a little bit long.
Me, it honestly started way back. Like I remember back then, my mom bought me a lot, and I mean a lot of Thomas and Friends VHS tapes, mostly narrated by George Carlin, and also not only that, between 2002 all the way up to I'd say 2013, my parents would always take me on occasion to the good old New Hope and Ivyland Railroad because at the time it was the closest tourist railroad near the area until the Colbrookdale Railroad became a thing. And oftentimes I got to grow up alongside their steam engine, number 40. I mean, I've been to other railroads too, like Strasburg eventually, but obviously, New Hope was basically, one of my childhood railroads, and 40 was literally a childhood engine I literally grew up around, which is still in operation to this day. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in trains, just a combination of Thomas and Friends and the New Hope and Ivyland. Shout out to them. I
For
actually.
me, it was all originally the Brio trains, like the old wooden Brio trains back then.
I still have a handful of those. I actually have right behind me a Brio Santa Fe F unit just sitting there on my on one of the tables over there, just on display.
Well, besides besides that, also my dad got me interested into trains a little more, and that would be another story I'll have to bring up at another time because there's a whole big thing to do about that.
Yeah, because he was like a former. He used to work on the railroad, didn't he?
No, he wasn't really a railroad worker. It's something we'll have to get into another time.
All right. Well, basically, you said that was the last question you had to take.
Yeah, because I got to get moving. I got to give my
Yeah.
mom a
So,
hand.
all right, we're gonna end the stream right here. Because we both got stuff to do. Thank you so much to those that could make it. And so now you not only know a little bit about me now, you also know a lot more about my closest friend, Trainfan5202 here. Stay tuned for documentaries in December. And this is also kind of a farewell to my old Latitude 5420 because as soon as my like I'd say like as soon as this stream is uploaded, I should be transferring all my files onto my new computer. So without anything else to say, thank you so much for sticking around, and we'll see you all in the future. Thanks for stopping by,
Exactly.
TrainFan5202. It was an honor having you.
Yep.
All
Have a
right.
good night, everyone.
Yep. See you later, guys.